Chapter 3 The Accident. When Harriet was a teenager, a slave working in a field ran off. The postman threw a weight at him to stop him. But it hit Harriet instead. Harriet wasn't the same after that. She fell asleep without warning. Sometimes her head dropped into the middle of the sentence and she would be asleep. The sleeping spells made escape even more dangerous, but Harriet's mind was made up. Daddy Ben, her father, knew Harriet would run. He wanted her to make it when she did. He showed Harriet where to hide in the woods. He showed her which plants and berries were safe to eat. He taught her how to run quickly and silently through the forest. Most important, he taught Harriet how to find north. See that big dipper in the sky, said Daddy Ben one evening. Harriet picked out the stars that formed Dipping's ladle. See that bright star above the bowl? Asked Daddy Ben. That's the North Star. Follow it and you'll be heading towards freedom. Chapter 4 Harriet Escapes. Years went by. Whenever Harriet lost heart, she looked up at the North Star. When she was 28, Harriet fell in love with John Tubman. Slaves weren't allowed to marry, so they jumped to the broom instead. A broom was laid on the floor. The couple jumped over it. When they landed, they were husband and wife. Harriet told John her plan to escape. I have rights to freedom or death, she said. I will have one or the other. Since no one is going to bring me back alive. John didn't want trouble. He said he would tell Mr. Brodus if Harriet kept talking about running away. Harriet stopped talking about it, but she didn't stop thinking about it. One day, Harriet found out that she had been sold. It was time to act. Weeks before, a Quaker woman had offered to help. Quakers were religious people who believed that owning another human being was wrong. The woman gave Harriet directions to a safe house in Delaware, the next state over. The next Saturday, Harriet waited until John was asleep. She wrapped cornbread and salt herring in a handkerchief. She silently opened the cabin door. Outside, the North Star pointed the way. Harriet didn't look back. She took off into the woods, running fast. Chapter 5. Free at last. Harriet ran for hours. Sharp pains stabbed her sides, but she didn't stop. She followed the Choptank River to the Maryland border. As she ran, Harriet remembered Daddy Ben's words. Walk through water when you can. The dogs will lose your skins. Harriet looked off her shoes and stepped into the icy river. When the sun rose, she heard the baying of hounds. The boatman was on her trail. Harriet found a small island in a swamp. She hid in a hollow log. She was so tired she fell asleep. She didn't hear the slave catchers galloping past. In Camden, Delaware, Harriet found the safe house the Quaker woman had told her about. A brightly colored quilt hung on the clothesline. That meant it was safe for Harriet to knock. The owners welcomed Harriet into their home. They fed her. They hid her in the attic, where she slept all day. When night came, Harriet thanked them and ran for the next safe house. Once Harriet fell asleep on the road. She woke up just as a group of slave hunters were approaching. Harriet scrambled into a ditch and covered herself with blood. She prayed the hunters wouldn't see her. Somehow, they never did. After days of running, Harriet crossed into the free state of Pennsylvania. She looked at her hands. She was the same person, but something about her had changed. Her hands belonged to her now, not to anyone else. Harriet Tubman was free. Chapter 6. No Turning Back. That first trip had been long ago. Harriet remembered it now as she felt the most on the tree. She had made it then, and she would make it again. This way, she told and run away. Finally, the group reached the safe house, but the station master wouldn't let them in. He was afraid of the Fugitive Slave Act. The new law said that anyone helping runaways could be severely punished. Harriet led the group back into the woods. Everyone was tired and hungry. One woman was so weak that Harriet had to carry her. Suddenly, one of the men stopped. "I'm going back," he said. "It's better to be slave than suffer like this." Harriet stood in his way. If the slave catchers caught him, they would beat the secrets of the Underground Railroad out of him. Harriet couldn't let that happen. She pointed her gun at the man. "You'll run back and you'll never run again," she said. "Come with me, now or die." The group trudged on. Finally, they found a safe house in Wilmington, Delaware. A Quaker named Thomas Garrett owned a shoe store. He had a secret room for runaways to hide in behind the wall of shoe boxes. When the runaways were ready to leave, he gave them each a pair of shoes. When they reached Philadelphia, William still gave Harriet money to take the group off to Canada. He wrote in his journal, "Harriet Tubman is not afraid. The idea that she could be caught at any time doesn't seem to enter her mind." Chapter 7. Saving Daddy Ben and Old Reed. Daddy Ben and Old Reed were now in their 70s. Running would be hard for them, but Harriet wanted her parents to know freedom. In 1857, she went back to Maryland dressed as an old woman. Daddy Ben and Old Reed were overjoyed to see her. Harriet took an old horse and wagon from a nearby plantation. That night, Daddy Ben and Old Reed climbed into the back of the wagon. Harriet covered them with blankets. She drove the horse as fast as she could. She wanted to be out of Maryland by daybreak. In Delaware, a Quaker railroad agent sold them train tickets. Their band and old Swedes could hardly believe it. They had been slaves all their lives. Now Harriet was using Daddy Band's lessons to bring them to freedom. Chapter 8. Harriet's Last Years. In 1861, the Civil War broke out. Presidents Abraham Lincoln wanted to free the slaves, but the southern states were against this. One by one, they left the Union. They formed the Union of their own called the Confederacy. The war tore the country apart. As always, Harriet was quick to join the fight. She worked as a spy and a scout for the North. She also worked as a nurse. In 1865, the North won the Civil War. The Underground Railroad stopped running. The fight to free the slaves was over. Harriet spent her later years in Auburn, New York, taking care of her parents. After many years, the government decided to give her a reward for her work. She used the money to build a home for elderly blacks who had no place to live. In 1913, Harriet began to seek to get out of bed. Visitors read the newspaper to her. She followed the news of women fighting for the right to vote. She sent them a message: stand together. It was a message that had helped her people win the victory over slavery. One day, it would help women win the vote. Harriet died at the age of 93. She had made at least 19 trips south and brought more than 300 people out of slavery. I've never run a train off the track, and I've never lost a passenger. She liked to say. Together today, Harriet Tubman is remembered as the Moses of her people and one of the bravest soldiers in the fight against slavery.